All right, let's get into it. I didn't see the fight Saturday, so oh shit. All right, let's get into it. I didn't see the Roach fight, his latest fight. And I heard a lot of people. They were saying, Roach got robbed. It was a draw. I mean, basically about old school and new school boxing. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, I just ain't into it. I just think them boys, they not guffing like they used to be. That's the word we use. Back in the day. If they start guffing and make these fights, where they can't go to the refs, with a draw, then we won't have all these problems, if you will. You know what I mean? Like I don't know the weight classes down to the exact pound, but Sugar Ray Leonard and Hearns and Hagler, and I caught the tail end of Muhammad Ali and Iran Barkley and James Toney. Them boys was guffing. These guys out here, they defensive this and defensive that. I mean, you got some, I ain't saying ain't no warriors in this generation, but all I'm saying is, if you're going to dance around and you ain't really landing no punches and you got a couple good shots in, and then they give you a draw, and you really can't be mad. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm used to. I mean, I guess that's why I ain't into boxing like that. Because they not guffing, man. Mike Tyson, he was a brawler. I mean, he might wasn't a technician like Holyfield, but he was in there knocking dudes out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and the latter part of his career, they was taking it to him. But he was trying to get the fight early. Holyfield got a different approach. You know what I'm saying? I caught Larry Holmes as well. At the end of his career, probably stayed too long. James Buster Douglas, you know what I'm saying? He did what he had to do to knock out Mike Tyson. You know what I'm saying? These guys, like I said, I'm not taking nothing away from these guys that's boxing today because I really don't watch it. But what my point, let's stay on topic in my point. These guys touch and go, Lord, this, that, and the third, you know what I'm saying? And then, they stand and waiting for these judges that got both of their hands held, and then they end up with a draw or one by a little bit. Now, win is a win. But, make these so the judges won't, have to, get involved. They not fighting like they used to be. You go watch them Sugar Ray Leonard fights with Roberto Duran, Thomas Hearns, Marvin Hagler, etc. You get where I'm going. Them James Toney fights and all them fights back in the day, them boys was brawling. Old school is just better than new school. You know what I'm saying? Subscribe to the channel. I mean, you know what I mean? It is what it is. Boxing ain't like it used to be. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? It ain't taking nothing away from today's fighter. That's all I'm saying.